You don't know how much I've missed sitting in front of this camera, in my setup, talking to you. Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. Welcome to the Baby Elephant community. On this channel we talk about the law of attraction, spirituality, self-development, and so much more. And today's video is going to be a bit all over the place, but informational and encouraging, especially if you're going through the same thing. I believe that the majority of people will be going through this in the next 10 years or so. So at some point, this is going to resonate with you. If it doesn't now, it definitely will down the line. And some of the information that I share with you today will help when you're going through the same thing, or if you've gone through it, or if you're currently in the process of going through it. By the way, I get a lot of questions why I call my community baby elephants. Well, I don't know if I've explained this before, but in my first ever law of attraction video, I asked you guys to leave a comment down in the comments below saying the word elephant if you want more law of attraction videos. And that is really what shaped this channel and shaped my life into becoming what it is today. The reason why I chose elephant is because there's this saying that the universe can't differentiate between big or small. You can ask for a pen, you can ask for an elephant, and it's just as easy to get either or. So that was why I originally said leave the word elephant down in the comments below if you want more law of attraction videos. So that's why we are the baby elephant community. Also, the elephant has always shown up in my life as kind of like a spirit animal, as a guide, as a sign that I'm on the right track. And the elephant is the largest vegan on the planet, and you know how I love that plant-based life. So I just wanted to explain that, and I wanted to welcome anybody who's new, anybody who stumbled on this video randomly. Please join the baby elephant community. And for my existing baby elephants, I'd like to ask you for a favor. If you feel comfortable, please leave in the comments below how long you've been in the community and a little bit about how your life has improved or changed since undergoing your journey alongside my journey. I feel like this will be very good social proof for anybody considering whether they want to join our community, to see how this, how our lives together have improved and how we've grown. If you've been here for a while, I'm sure you know how much I've changed just in the past 7 months or so, and that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about today. For anybody who's not aware about where I've been and what's been going on, I started this channel as a spirituality and law of attraction centric channel. Now, I think that when you get into spirituality from not a religious standpoint, even though I am a religious, I'm Jewish and I do follow my religion. When you get into spirituality from not such a religious entrance, however, law of attraction is a really good gateway to understanding the laws of the universe, because there are other laws of the universe, but the law of attraction is all encompassing. It always exists no matter what. It's like the biggest law in the universe. It's the most powerful one. I started my journey on this channel with the law of attraction. I've been studying and practicing the law of attraction consciously since I was 14 years old. And I started making YouTube videos when I was 23 or 22. I'm 26 now. And you guys, a lot of you have been with me on a very crazy journey of self-development. And what I do is I learn in my own life, and then I relay the messages and the learning and the teachings onto you. I've gone through everything that I share on this channel. I don't like to talk about things so much in a theoretical standpoint. I'd like to have the experience that goes along with it. However, I am thinking of starting to do more theoretical videos because there's a lot of new and interesting concepts that I'm learning about, and I'd like to share them with you even though I haven't experienced them myself. Just things that are super interesting, phenomenon and paradoxes and all the stuff that I'm studying that's really interesting. So I will start sharing those kinds of more theoretical type videos, but everything that I share on this channel have been things that I've gone through myself. In the past 7 months, I've been going through what's called the dark night of the soul. Now, there are many different definitions for what this is, but what I see it as and what I experienced it as is a necessary step in the awakening process where you purge, observe, analyze, discern and just take stock inventory of your entire life, basically, of everything that you've experienced up until this point, and also past life things, ancestral things. It's a time where you have to come to terms with a lot of things that have happened to you. In order to grow and to transcend, we drop the baggage and we drop the negativity and we integrate our shadows in order to become who we really are meant to be. Basically, the dark night of the soul allows for more light to come into the vessel. This physical body that you see before you and that you inhabit yourself is the vessel, and we are the light within the vessel. We're the spark, the soul, the spirit, eternal and immortal, and we have come from source to experience and to return to source. I don't really know anybody who's experienced the dark night of the soul as simply one night. From everybody I've spoken to on my own journey, it is much more likely that it takes weeks to months. I know some of you have commented and have said that you've been going through your dark night of the soul for years. As far as I've learned, read, studied, and heard from other people, that does happen to some people. To some people, the dark night of the soul could be overnight as well. I know people who have gone from completely asleep and unaware to awakened and very much conscious, not enlightened, but very much conscious overnight. Now, the awakening process is not something that, it's not a destination, it's a lifelong process. You become more and more awakened, and you can always go back into unconsciousness and basically into sleep through drugs, alcohol, sleeping around, being just like not a bad person. There are many different ways, consuming a lot of food, a lot of television. There are many different ways to go back into unconsciousness. However, the awakening process, if you continue with it, could be a lifelong process. I don't personally know anybody who's awakened, but definitely there are people out there who are in this physical body and who are awakened. Now, I'm still undergoing the awakening process, and I'd like to say that my process did start when I was 9 years old and deepened year after year, getting to this climactic place when I underwent a plant medicine ceremony with ayahuasca back in November, when my third eye was forced open. And that happens. So the dark night of the soul usually happens when the awakening process begins. And the awakening can begin through just some sort of trigger being turned on in your brain by some sort of information that has been given to you. You can become awakened or start the awakening process through a traumatic event. Some people, nothing happens to them. They just suddenly start to experience the awakening process. And something like this did happen to me when I was about 20 years old. I called it my consciousness shift. I will link the video down below where I talk about that. And what was happening is my third eye wanted to open back then. My higher self wanted to come down more into this vessel to become more awakened. However, I pushed that away because of a very dark relationship that I was in. I was drinking 5 times a week, basically. I was partying. I was with somebody who wasn't good for me, so I was giving my body to somebody who, made my darkness come out rather than my light. And I was pushing away the awakening. So even though my soul definitely wanted it to happen, and there were a couple of times that this happened, this little shift in consciousness, I pushed it away. So plant medicine will make that happen. Meditation every single day will make that happen. For some people, it could happen in months. For some people, it happens in years. And again, for some people, it happens overnight. For other people, transcendental meditation, breath work could be the trigger. Like I said, learning something that just blows your mind away. I've heard that people who have like baptism when in their adult years could experience awakenings. Religious experiences could also spark the awakening process. There's a lot of ways that you can start the awakening process, but what is common in all these is that we all experience the dark night of the soul, and that's when all our fear, all our darkness, all our negativity, all the worst parts of ourselves come to the surface. And when this happens, depression happens. Suicidal thoughts can happen. A lot of darkness. Like it was for me, it could be very much up and down. It could feel like a psychotic break at certain points, and I had moments, and my family and my friends and my partner could tell you that I definitely had moments in my life that felt like I was breaking down psychotically. Like I wanted to be checked into a mental hospital because I felt insane. I was seeing things, I was feeling fear, so much fear. But it is part of the process, and this is a phenomenon that happens to many, many people, millions of people. By the way, as I was listing the things that could trigger an awakening, this is a lot more esoteric, but it is very common to see a supernatural being, such as a ghost or an alien, interdimensional, multidimensional being, and that could trigger an awakening as well. And many of you know, if you've seen my video, that something like this did happen to me back in January, and that accelerated the whole process exponentially as well. And I will get back to that. There's something important that I've learned recently about that. So my dark night of the soul lasted about 6 to 7 months, closer to 6 months. And there were moments where I wanted to give up. Definitely, 100%. I had moments in time where I was super creative, super tapped into angels, super just, you know, enjoying the process. And that's when I was making a lot of videos. Then I had moments where I was really afraid, where I was seeing lower dimensional beings, where I couldn't sleep. For months, I had trouble sleeping. For months and months and months. And around 7 p.m. every night, I would start getting this sinking feeling in my stomach because I knew that it was about time to go to bed. And that was the scariest part of my day. I'm getting sweaty just thinking about those times because it was really, really difficult. Other people might experience the dark night of the soul differently, but this is the way that I experienced it. My third eye was super open. I was becoming increasingly omniscient, omniscient, I think that's the word. Clairsentient. Omniscient means that I knew everything, and that's definitely not it. But I was becoming increasingly clairsentient, meaning I would close my eyes and I would feel interdimensional beings around us. I would feel angels. I'd feel lower vibrational beings at night, which would terrify me. And you know, this is all something that was very, very new to me. Other than when I was a child, which I learned, I was very clairsentient as a child, but I was always told it's just your imagination. So I definitely repressed it a lot, so it went away in my teenage years. But there were moments where I would sit down for meditation and I would call on angels and I'd feel things appearing around me, and I was terrified. And then I was worried about myself because I was like, why am I afraid of angels? Does that say something negative about me? But no, what really was happening was I was being exposed to these new experiences. So it was all just a big mind, excuse my French. It took a lot of getting used to. There was a lot of nights and a lot of days spent on my bathroom floor begging God for help, asking God to help me get through what I was going through, and asking for it to all stop. But then in the morning, I'd be like, no, I want to keep going. I want to see this through. I want to keep moving up the chakras, and I want to get through this dark night of the soul. I know I'm going through this. I was reassured often by Aaron and Victor that what I was going through was natural, and that one day I would miss feeling as much as I felt. The reason ultimately why I'm making this video is to update you guys, to let you know that I truly believe at this moment in time that my dark night of the soul has come to a close. Now, I don't know enough about this to know if this is it for good, forever, if it returns. But what I do know is that I no longer fear going to sleep. I no longer experience any negative entities, any negative beings, any negative energies. I still experience angels. I see sparks of light where I know that that is somebody's angel, my angels, or spirit guides. And I feel a lot of comfort and reassurance when I see those things. However, I don't experience fear, negativity, confusion like I did before. And the experiences in themselves, when I sit down to meditate and I feel beings around me, feel comforting rather than scary. They feel normal now. And it's not so much that I've gotten used to it, but it does feel like there was a culmination of an era. Like that part of my life is closed for now, or for good. Why do we want to go through spiritual awakening? Why do we want to experience the dark night of the soul? Because I can sit in front of this camera and I can look the camera straight on, not look at myself in the viewfinder, I can, pass this on to you and tell you, I have never been more proud of myself. I've never been more confident of who I am as a person. I've never felt so worthy. I've never loved and cared for myself as much as I do today. I woke up today feeling blissful, ecstatic. I'll explain why in a bit, but I knew, I had this knowing, it's done. And I went through it, I got through it. A lot of people break when they go through the dark night of the soul. But I had to go through it, and I had to document a lot of it on YouTube so that I can be a beacon of light to others who are undergoing the same experience. And that I can sit in front of you today and tell you that there is an end to this. And at the end is the brightest, most loving, comforting white light you'll ever feel in your life. It's the knowing that your higher self, more of your higher self, is in your physical vessel, and that you are this godly, divine being, spiritual and good, truly good. This process has made me a better person than I ever could hope to be. I don't lie, I can't lie, I don't have it in me. I am honest and good to people. I love people, I love myself. I don't hurt myself, I don't hurt other people. And I have what it takes to heal myself and others. And we all have that ability. But going through this whole process of fear and doubting myself all the time, feeling unworthy, feeling depressed, scared, I had to go through all this to be where I am today. To be able to walk through the street and just have this huge nerdy smile on my face. I went to yoga today and I was just like biking with just feeling so good, and I got into yoga, and I remember during the dark night of the soul, I would be very grossed out of people and not want to be around people. And today everything was just so beautiful, so rosy. I saw these sweaty other people, and I was just like, I love them so much. I'm so happy that they're here bettering themselves. I'm so proud of them. We're all in this together. We're all one. And I felt true, deep love. And as I talk about this right now, my heart is brimming with love. You want to go through the dark night of the soul so that you can feel this deepness, this deep level of love for self, for others, and this oneness. I feel like my body is levitating. And that's why we go through this. That's why we want to awaken spiritually, so that we can feel like heaven is on earth all the time. While I was going through the dark night of the soul, I questioned whether I would ever be happy again as my baseline. Because my entire life I'd always been, even through the depression, even through the anxiety that I had experienced in the past, which I was medicated for in the past, I had always been a generally happy person. Now, through my dark night of the soul, I was afraid that this would not be the case anymore. But I woke up today and I was like, oh, happiness is my natural state of being. And we can always be happy. There's just a dark part of our lives that we have to go through sometimes to make happiness and bliss our state of being. So if you're going through the dark night of the soul right now, I want you to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There really, really is. And it's worth it. I remember Aaron Dowdy would tell me that he used to feel like he was so high vibrational, and then he had a spiritual awakening. This was back in 2012, I believe. And he felt like at a 10 all the time. And I was just like, that's not what my awakening feels like. And now at the end of this hardship that I've experienced, I feel at a 10. It's bursting out of me. It's overflowing. And I truly believe now, what I hadn't before. There was never once in those 7 months where I was like, I'm gonna be happy all the time. I never once believed that. But I have a faith now and belief that happiness is my natural state of being. Not contentness, not satisfaction, not fulfillment, but happiness. True happiness. I said that I would go back to that whole other dimensional being. If you don't know and you want to know, I'll post the video below. I had an encounter with an alien in my bedroom. It happened. I know that it seems crazy, it seems out there, and I'm having a lot of synchronicities this week. So let me tell you this little synchronistic story of how I got some information that's very, very interesting about this phenomenon that I went through that started my dark night of the soul. Mind you, not everybody goes through that. Not everybody needs to go through it in order to start their enlightenment. You don't need to go through plant medicine to start your awakening. Meditation works, self-discovery works, reading books works, going inwards works. You can make this happen in many, many ways. So the other day I was on my way to Jerusalem. I was away out of the country for 3 weeks, and I was going from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and I kept seeing all these synchronicities, all these repeating numbers, and I just felt very much in alignment. And as I was on my way, this word Gnosticism, many of you might know it, it's kind of like a branch of Christianity or something that developed from or before Christianity. I don't know that much, but the word came up for me. And I remember asking my brother, like, what's Gnosticism? I always hear about it, and I just remembered the word right now. And he's like, I don't really know. So I started Googling it, and I was reading it, and it kind of made me feel weird. I don't really know how much I align with the values of Gnosticism. It kind of threw me off, and if anybody knows anything about it, I'd love your opinion on it in the comments. But that's not really what mattered. What mattered is the synchronistic chain of events that follow this. So I was listening to a Russell Brand podcast with I think his name is Graham Hancock. His name is Graham Hancock. He was on the Under the Skin podcast with Russell Brand, and he was fascinating. I enjoyed the podcast so much. And in the podcast, he starts talking about Gnosticism. Now, when I was Googling Gnosticism, I also downloaded Reddit for the first time in that same day on my way to Jerusalem, because my brother was telling me, get on Reddit, it's all these interesting topics. And I was looking into DMT on Reddit just because I'm not going to do DMT as far as I know, but I'm always interested in people's experiences with DMT because it is the spirit molecule, the God particle, the thing that allows us to transcend and basically to see God. So I'm always interested in people's stories with it. So I went on Reddit and I was looking into DMT stuff, reading people's experiences with it, crazy stuff. I recommend doing it if you have hours to kill. So I was listening to the podcast with Graham Hancock, and in the podcast he starts talking about Gnosticism. So I was like, this seems eerie. Maybe there's something that I need to learn about from this person. So I went to look at his Twitter, and in his recent tweets, he was talking about DMT. So I was just thinking, I feel like there's a lot of synchronicities here of what things I've been thinking about and looking into lately. Maybe I should get one of his books. So I got his book, Supernatural, and about the 4th or 5th chapter, maybe 6th chapter, he starts talking about the phenomenon that apparently 1 in 5 adult Americans experience. And that is the phenomenon of being awake but paralyzed, but your face still moving, and seeing a supernatural being in your bedroom. He was saying that 1 in 5 people experience this, but nobody talks about it. So I don't even remember why I brought that up. I just want to let you guys know that this happens to people. And this was a survey that was done, I think in the 1990s or something like that. 1 in 5 people experienced what I experienced before I knew about this, before I'd ever heard about anything like this. You can watch the video where I talk about that below. This morning, I experienced something miraculous. I woke up, I'm jet lagged, so I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was doing some chores, cleaning the house and stuff, and at 5 a.m. I'm like, okay, let me try to go back to sleep. And I said to myself, you know, I'd like to experience an angelic healing. Maybe my angels will do something cool to me. I haven't experienced anything very much out there in a while. You guys, suddenly I became super, super tired and I fell asleep, except for I was not really sleeping because I felt for 3 hours straight, approximately every 5 to 10 minutes, tremors from the top of my head to the bottom of my foot that felt like ecstasy, blissful vibrations throughout my body every 5 minutes or so. I couldn't wake up, and at first I was like, what's going on? And it felt like this energetic vibration through my body. I don't even know how to explain it, but it felt amazing. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm getting what I asked for. So I'm experiencing these blissful, ecstatic tremors in my body. And with each one, I'm feeling this message. I'm being healed. My body's being healed. My etheric body is being healed. My astral body, my energetic body, my physical body. Every empty part of me is being filled up with love and with light. And it truly felt that way. So, like through the awakening process and post Dark Night of the Soul, I'm still experiencing these very mystical experiences that feel like they are straight from the divine, straight from God, straight from source energy. I'm really grateful for it because it really feels like a closing of one chapter and an opening of a new one. I'm sure you can feel the energy from this video to know that I am a bit different. I feel different. I feel really good and really ready for the rest of this physical life. I've seen the dark side of the world, and I know that the good is so much stronger and so much more powerful. Thank you for watching all the way up to now. I hope this was informative. I hope this was helpful. If you're going through a similar thing, please comment it down below because it's going to help not only me, but the rest of the community. People need to know that this is normal. We've been taught that it isn't. But what if it is? What if this is our natural state of experiencing this physical reality? We need resources and we need support. If I hadn't had this channel and if I hadn't had you guys showing me such love and so much support throughout the past 6-7 months, I would have probably lost my mind. Without you guys, without this channel as my platform, without Aaron, without my family, without my best friends, I probably wouldn't have handled this as well as I have handled it. I don't know if I would be here right now. I don't know what would have happened to me. So thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you to everybody who's been by my side through this process. It's been quite a journey. And I'm so excited for what's coming up. Thank you for watching. I love you and I appreciate you always. And until my next video, as always, keep your vibrations way, way, way up. Bye.